March 25th is Tolkien Reading Day. Many of you are probably aware that the reason that the date March 25th was chosen is that we're told in Appendix B of Lord of the Rings, in the Tale of Years, that March 25th was the date of the destruction of the One Ring, the downfall of Barad-dûr, and the passing of Sauron. 2 years later, it became the New Year in Gondor and the start of the Fourth Age. But is the March 25th of the Tale of Years the same as our March 25th? Well, the answer is no. In Appendix D of the Lord of the Rings, we're given wonderful detail about various calendar systems in Middle-earth. We're told about Elvish calendars and Númenórean calendars, Gondorian calendars, both when they had kings and when they had stewards, and of course we're told about the Hobbit calendar. Now, it turns out it's really only the Hobbit calendar that matters to us on this particular issue. We're told in Appendix D that the Shire reckoning and dates are the only ones of importance for the narrative of the War of the Ring. All the days, months, and dates are, in the Red Book, translated into Shire terms or equated with them in notes. The months and days, therefore, throughout the Lord of the Rings, refer to the Shire calendar. Now, the fact that the Shire calendar differs from our own is obvious even in Appendix B, the Tale of Years, where we see entries for February 29th and February 30th. This isn't even a leap year, but we have not only a February 29th, but also a February 30th, where the Entmoot starts. Now, the reason for this is that every month in the calendar has 30 days. 12 months, each of 30 days makes 360 days, and then we've got 5 to make up, 6 in a leap year. And the way that's done in the calendar is that at the end of the year and the start of the new year, there are Yule days that make up 2 extra days, and then right in the middle, between the 2 lots of 6 months, we have the Lithe days. That's 3 days, 4 in a leap year. And the middle of the 3 days, when they're just 3, is the mid-year's day that corresponds to midsummer, the summer solstice. So the fact that the months have different lengths to ours immediately means that they don't necessarily match up. Now, we can synchronize the 2 calendars in a number of different ways. One would be to just assume that the start of the year is the same in both calendars. And that's what I've done in the first few columns of this spreadsheet. You can see in the first 2 columns the Shire dates, depending on whether there's a leap year or not. And then if we synchronize by the first day of the year, this is what it looks like. Now, we're actually told in the same paragraph that we read from earlier, paragraph 25 of Appendix D, that the only points in which the differences between this, meaning the Shire calendar, and our calendar are important to the story at the crucial period, the end of 3018 and the beginning of 3019, that's Shire reckoning 1418, 1419, are these. October 1418 has only 30 days. January the 1st is the second day of 1419. You can see that January the 1st is actually the second day of the year. And thirdly, that February has 30 days. If I scroll down, you can see here, February has 30 days. And then Tolkien says, so that March 25th, the date of the downfall of Barad-dûr, interestingly, that's what he chooses to describe the significance of the date as. Not the destruction of the ring or the passing of Sauron, just the downfall of the Barad-dûr, the Dark Tower. That would correspond to our March 27th. If, and this is important, if our years began at the same seasonal point. In other words, if we choose to synchronize the 2 calendars based on the start of the year, then March 25th in the Shire calendar, which is, remember, the one that matters, corresponds to our March 27th. That's actually assuming there's no leap year in our calendar. If there's a leap year in our calendar, then it's off by a day. He adds that this date, March 25th, however, was March 25th in both the King's and the Steward's reckoning. In other words, the March 25th label applies in the Shire calendar, in the King's reckoning, and in the Steward's reckoning. But it doesn't correspond to March 25th in our calendar. But here's where it gets particularly interesting. Notice he says if our years began at the same seasonal point. But that's not really the way that these should be synchronized. After all, we have this day, Mid-Year's Day, that's supposed to correspond to midsummer, the summer solstice. And in fact, in a few paragraphs before paragraph 14 of Appendix D, Tolkien says, "It appears, however, that Mid-Year's Day was intended to correspond as nearly as possible to the summer solstice." Now, the astronomical summer solstice as we currently understand it falls on either June 20th or June 21st. Actually, this year it's going to be on June 20th, but more often than not, it's actually June 21st. But it turns out that in medieval times, it was generally June 23rd or 24th that was considered the midsummer, the summer solstice. And that's actually the synchronization point that matters here. If we synchronize the Shire Mid-Year's Day to the 23rd of June, then we get the situation that Tolkien describes here. In that case, the Shire dates were actually in advance of ours by some 10 days, and our New Year's Day corresponded more or less to the Shire January 9th. Now, if we scroll down to June and make the mid-year of the Shire correspond to the 23rd of June in our Gregorian calendar, syncing the midsummer, then indeed we find that our New Year's Day, the 1st of January, corresponds to Shire January 9th. So that actually seems to be the right way of synchronizing it. And if we do synchronize it that way, then we find that March 25th actually corresponds to March 18th in the Gregorian calendar when there's not a leap year, March 17th when there is a leap year. But notice there's actually a contradiction between these two paragraphs. Paragraph 25 talks about synchronizing the first day of the year, in which case March 25th would correspond to March 27th or March 26th, then a leap year. But if we synchronize the summer solstice, or the traditional medieval summer solstice, with the mid-year's day, then we get March 18th or March 17th as the date corresponding to March 25th. So it seems like both dates are a possibility. I would lean more heavily to the summer solstice being the synchronization point. That makes more sense to me. And it seems that that was what was intended, as Tolkien says in paragraph 14. So I'm not quite sure why in paragraph 25 he gives that calculation of March 27th based on the start of the year. But anyway, there you have it. It's certainly the case that March 25th in the Shire calendar does not correspond to March 25th in our calendar. And a bunch of other dates that we celebrate fall into the same category. So let's, for example, look at Bilbo and Frodo's birthday, which we're told is September 22nd in the Shire calendar. Because remember, we're told all the dates in Lord of the Rings use the Shire calendar. The 22nd of September in the Shire corresponds actually to September the 22nd in a leap year in our calendar, September 23rd when it's not a leap year, if you synchronize based on the first day of the year. But if we synchronize, as I think we probably should, with the traditional summer solstice, June 23rd, then Bilbo and Frodo's birthday is actually the 14th of September in non-leap years, the 13th of September in leap years. It turns out that in the BSD variants of the Unix operating system, and that includes Mac OS, there is a calendar file which gives dates for various significant events in Middle-earth. And you'll see here the destruction of the ring is given as March 18th. So this particular calendar file, which has been around for many, many decades, possibly going back to the 70s, uses the traditional medieval summer solstice synchronization of the dates it gives the 18th of March, not the 25th of March. If you're interested in the Middle-earth calendars, I have been working on a Python library that does some date calculations. It's called Ada, and I'll give a link to the GitHub repo in the description below. Anyway, regardless of whether you're celebrating Tolkien Reading Day on the Gregorian March 25th or the proper date corresponding to the Shire March 25th, I hope you have a wonderful day filled with the words of J.R.R. Tolkien. If you found this video interesting, give it a like, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one, then be sure to subscribe. Thank you very much.